Hello everyone, it's Rick. Saturday the 8th, April 8th, 2017. If you need to reach me, it's rick0327@me.com. I took a few days off. Hold on a second here. Yeah, I took a few days off. Not from helping people or anything, just from making videos. It's funny, I was when Amin Osiris made the video about the clerks, I was actually writing an affidavit for that because a lot of people, that I've been helping, that's been the obstacle. Are these fucking clerks, these scumbags. And they bust chops with the paperwork. It's got to be done a certain way. You got to fill out their paper because they're programmed. They must be all, they must be told by the people that work there. Because think about this for a second. Well, let me finish that thought. To not accept paperwork unless if it's done a certain way. Except there's this place in Washington D.C. called the Supreme Court, and sorry, my phone is all over the place. The Supreme Court said that pro se pleadings, which I don't like using that phrase, pro se, but in this matter we're going to have to. When pro se pleadings, though may be inartful, meaning not written, a nice way, they don't have to be perfect, and they don't have to be held to a standard of a lawyer, a legal professional. And they do it all the time. And, I'll have, one guy in Florida submit his paperwork, no problem. Some guy in Illinois that busting chops. One guy in upstate New York, which I'm familiar with New York, and every place is different. Now, when I go to family court, they know me. I'm as soon as I come in there, I'm Mr. Wyman. Mr. Wyman. Thank you. They take my paperwork, and that's it. Okay. There we go. And so one guy, unfortunately, he lives in another state. Submits my paperwork, and the demand to vacate Federal Rule 60B, which, by the way, all the federal rules apply in every court. But of course, they got to play their games. These people in the court. Now, this letter came from a chief clerk, and I'm gonna do a video on because I've done some homework the last week, and I've found some interesting things, especially with the income withholding orders. Especially if you get them, you have a specific time period to challenge them. All right, but let me get back to the clerk, what I was just talking about. And here's a move they do. All right, the response will be, we're not quite sure what you're trying to do, but, and then they'll say, we recommend you seek out legal advice. You know what they're doing there? We're not quite sure what you're trying to do, which is bullshit, because if they know what you're trying to do and they don't accept your paperwork, they're obstructing, which for a clerk is a crime under 18 U.S.C. section 2071. I'm sure probably, I didn't see the whole video. I took a break because this stuff burns me out a little bit. I got to deal with emails all day, and most of them is trying to get their paperwork through. So just picture all day me dealing with emails, trying to help this one, that one, tell them to do this, tell them to do that. It gets to you after a while. But listen, I chose to do this, so I'm not complaining. Trust me. I'm just saying it gets to me a little bit. So that's why I went out and created the affidavit that from now on, anybody that's going to submit paperwork to the clerk, you're going to submit this paperwork. It's accompanying with it. It's a notice to the clerk that they have to accept your paperwork. Okay? You could submit paperwork in fucking crayon. So long as they can read it, they're supposed to accept it. This is just a game that these people play in the courts. So I wrote out an affidavit, and I sent it to a couple people already that are going through this nonsense with the clerk, especially the one in the family court clerk up in upstate New York, that you are supposed to accept paperwork. And she's like, oh, the federal rule 60 does not apply in state courts, which is bullshit. Federal rules apply in every court. Federal law is the superseding law. All state laws are supposed to mirror federal law. And every state has an equivalent of Federal Rule 60. Federal Rule 60 is that the court has no discretion, none, zero, none. But one of the hardest things, you go on the internet, one of the hardest things to do, is what we're trying to do, is to try and get a court to vacate a void judgment. Now, they might vacate it for some other reason, like with me. Like, I got my support order vacated, but the judge wrote it for a different reason, because he's trying to protect that criminal support magistrate, Sudeep Kaur, because if she lacks jurisdiction, she could be sued. But anyway, so getting back to the clerk, Federal Rule 60, like in New York, CPLR 5015 is the state court rule equivalent to Federal Rule 60. Now, there's a case law, and I have it in my paperwork, on the Federal Rule 60B, subsection 4. Any judgment made in violation of due process is void. That's the whole purpose of my orders. That's why I know, not my order, my affidavit, I know they're good. Also, this morning I just created another one, and I got it. There's a guy named Richard Fine. He's dead now, I believe. He's a great man. He's a lawyer. He went up against the California Bar Association and the judges, and he's got a video out there. It's Richard, obviously we know how to spell Richard, and his last name is Fine, F-I-N-E. And he had about 400 judges recuse themselves because he discovered that they're all being paid by federal funds, Title 4D, well, right? The money's deposited into the county treasury, and he was able to find that these little judges were all being paid. Judges are not supposed to be paid from the outcome of a proceeding. It's like having a judge, you know, let's say, God forbid, you were in a drunk driving accident and you injured the judge's family member, and the judge is sitting on the bench overseeing, your trial. You're not going to get a fair trial. Well, you're not going to get a fair trial if the judge is being paid from the federal money of the support orders they're trying to establish and enforcing. Okay? That's it's called administrative procedures in the glossary of terms, of common terms, under the federal child support enforcement manual. And that's what they're doing. And also 42 U.S.C. section 654, the separate organizational unit for child support. So what they're doing is they're disguising these fraudulent proceedings, right? We all know this, right? Everybody's been following my channel. Everybody gets it. My man Swag Jack was just sent me a recording where he went to battle with these criminals in child support, and he did great. And when I listened to him, I'm like, this guy got it. He understood. He held his ground. Of course, he was dealing with criminals, and they were they were staying silent when he would bring up, like, well, you're getting paid from federal money. This is not court. This is bullshit. Well, that's what Richard Fine is saying, is that any judge who's being paid money from the final outcome of a proceeding is impartial. And Toomey versus Ohio, Monroeville versus Ohio, I believe it is. And there's another case that was found, Supreme Court 2009 case, Caperton et al. Shit, I don't know, I forget it, but it's as recently as 2009. And that's what you want sometimes. We need like current Supreme Court cases, because it proves when the Supreme Court cites an earlier decision, that decision is still holding, tried and true. So, Amno Cyrus did a video on this a while ago about, how, Title 4D money paid makes them automatically, they're not impartial, they're not unbiased. Judicial code requires that all judges are to be impartial and unbiased. Well, it's pretty hard to be impartial and unbiased when you're overseeing a matter where the final outcome is going to put money in your pocket. Well, anyway, this guy, Richard Fine, I believe, he got jailed. I mean, we want to talk about a man who went all out for the cause, and a judge jailed him. It's really messed up what happened to this guy. But anyway, it's proof that what we're doing is we're fighting void judgments. And now, listen, I want you guys to understand this, please. Somebody was in court the other day. My paperwork can only do so much. Okay? You got to know this stuff. And he went in there and they pulled this bullshit on him. Well, there's a 2-year statute of limitation, which is, I've never heard of a 2-year statute of limitation. First of all, there is no statute of limitation on void judgment. Void judgments can be attacked at any time in any court according to the Supreme Court. Now, the hard part is getting them to comply, which is why they have us do all this stuff through the clerk's office. That's why we have all these obstacles. You got to get through the clerk's office. Listen, this is really tough stuff. And that's why anybody out there is making a guarantee to you, anybody, I guarantee you, they're lying to you. There are no guarantees in this business. None. Because we're dealing with criminals. There's no burglar alarm company ever going to make a guarantee to you. Because there's always somebody, a criminal does not follow the rules. Well, the criminals in the courts are not following the rules. So we can't make a guarantee. So anybody making a guarantee to you and telling you, well, give me $2,000 and I'll send you these paperwork and this worked here and that worked there without showing you proof, your antenna should go up. That's why I don't ask for that much money. Because I can't make that guarantee. I know it worked for me, but it was a battle. So all I'm doing to you is I'm giving you hope. Sometimes hope is worth it for the amount of money I'm giving you. And the mere fact that the clerk's office is pulling all these little tricks, it is proof that it's working. Now, getting back to that clerk saying, well, I'm not quite sure what you're trying to do, but we can't give legal advice. Well, what are you doing reading the paperwork then? And making a legal conclusion that you don't know what we're doing. You know damn well what we're doing. Everybody that reads my paperwork knows exactly what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, you violated my due process. The judgment is void because of you didn't follow your own rules. It's not signed by a judge. It's not signed by a clerk. It's not recorded in the clerk's office. It doesn't exist. Void judgments don't exist. And what I'm doing is, that's why we're sending all this paperwork out, is because we're proving it doesn't exist. And if it is in the clerk's office, it's in the clerk's office in that court. It's not recorded in the county clerk. All court orders in that county are supposed to be recorded in the county clerk's office. All right, well, listen, I just wanted to catch up with you guys. I'm going to do a video probably tomorrow. Well, I'm going to show, I had a guy, his employer stopped taking money out based on my paperwork. And, I discovered 45 CFR